No need to rush.
Sonic Heroes has always been the kind of black sheep of the 3D Sonic series. Here you have Adventure 2, which directly follows up on Adventure and progresses its best gameplay styles. And then you have Heroes, which does something entirely different, completely removed from what came before. And then you have 06, which directly follows up on Sonic Adventure 2's best gameplay style, forgetting Heroes entirely, which leaves Sonic Heroes sort of just in this strange realm all by itself. Oh, and also Shadow the Hedgehog's in there somewhere, I don't know. The point I'm making here is that this game is weird, and to make matters even weirder is that this game has never gotten any kind of official re-release before, with all the titles preceding it having received tons of ports and remasters, and all the games after it being modern enough to just be played through backwards compatibility, and yet they're still being remade anyway, leaving Heroes again in another strange realm. This reason alone is enough for Sonic Heroes to deserve a remaster, but trust me, there's a lot better of a reason. This game has always been tough for me to recommend to anyone, because while there is a lot to like about it, it is just so damn messy. The sad realization I've come to with most Sonic games is that they're typically held back by just one major problem that infects the entire experience. For example, Sonic 06 has terrible, horrible glitches, yet the actual level design is really fun. In Unleashed, it's a joy to play as Sonic, but then you're also forced to play these levels again and again just to be able to make progress. Then you have the older Sonics, which are way too punishing for dying in a game where that's all too easy to do. Adventure has bad boss fights, Adventure 2 removes player choice, Sonic Advance series has annoying Chaos Emeralds, and Sonic Heroes has every single problem I mentioned all in one game. Yep, but this game breaks that Sonic trend, because it doesn't do one thing majorly wrong, it does a bunch of little things slightly wrong, which I think is much, much worse. The game sort of plays out like an avalanche of just one bad thing after another, and it becomes all too easy to forget the positives. For one, the team mechanic was a really smart progression of 3D Sonic. Before, each character's gameplay was completely segregated, with some feeling a lot less realized than others, yet still receiving equal billing for some reason. And in the case of Adventure 2, you were straight up forced to play lacking gameplay styles just to get to the good stuff. But here, it's all one experience, combining the different abilities we've come to love from Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, all of which you can switch between at will. The fact we've never seen this idea tried again in a Sonic game is a genuine travesty, because Sonic Heroes does not realize this concept at all. These signature character abilities aren't really actually in this game. You can spin dash with Sonic, but not really. You could fly with Tails, but not really. And you could glide with Knuckles, but not really. And don't even try to climb, that's not happening. You see, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles aren't the only playable characters in this game. You also have this bunch of clowns. So they had to create movesets that are becoming to every type of character. And while there are some variations, let's be real, they're all just the same thing. So instead of giving each character a fun and involved moveset they could use in the level design as you please, this game instead railroads you into the same repeated situations with the same repeated character types. They all have their specific uses, and it never goes anywhere beyond that. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles aren't three good individual characters in this game, they are three mediocre pieces of one good character. And you know what? I can accept this. This is what Sonic Heroes is trying to be. They want you to swap out, use an ability, swap to someone else, so on and so forth. It's trying to be like a pocket knife game. Teamwork is the motto here, and it's a gimmick I can get behind. But when every character feels bad to play, I start to have a problem. Sonic is way too fast in this game, with any sort of slight movement totally propelling him off in whatever direction. When playing a platformer, you should never be scared to run in a straight line. But Sonic Heroes somehow accomplishes this. On the other side of things, Knuckles and Tails are way too slow, with Knuckles specifically losing tons of momentum from just doing anything. So you have to play as Sonic if you want to get some speed, but doing that is nerve-wracking, especially in some of these later stages. Even more nerve-wracking is Knuckles, who has this terrible slide punch that loves to send you off to your death. Some teams don't have this luckily, but 2/4 is not a very good track record. Tails' transformation itself isn't inherently flawed, but whenever you switch to it, you get popped up in the air for some reason, which totally ruins a lot of the flow. And even when you are just using the character without any issue, it doesn't work, because so many of these abilities are complete pace breakers. You switch to Tails to poorly aim at targets, that's it. You switch to Knuckles to push in these switches, that's it. You switch to Sonic to watch him swing around these poles, that's it. Of course this isn't all the time, but too often the pace is totally broken for these stupid choke points, which isn't teamwork, it's monotony. But don't get me wrong, some of these levels here are great, and all of them have aesthetics I would love to see from a Sonic game nowadays. Seaside Hill, Ocean Palace, Grand Metropolis, Frog Forest, Egg Fleet, all fantastic stages in their own ways. These make great use of the team mechanic, with open level design that gives characters different paths depending on what you want to choose. These stages are Sonic Heroes at its best, and I always get a kick out of replaying them. And then you have Casino Park, Bingo Highway, Rail Canyon, Bullet Station, Mystic Mansion, and Final Fortress, all of which make me want to blow my head off. It's so strange because you have levels like Ocean Palace, which are so open and fun, and then in the same game, you have a level like Mystic Mansion, which is the most boring, monotonous hallway level design you'll ever see in a Sonic game. But hallway level design is far from the only problem here. Sonic Heroes loves its level gimmicks, which I have no problem with, when they work. Casino Park and Bingo Highway are both stages entirely framed around pinball physics that do not work. It's like there's some type of magnet here pulling you down, and it feels terrible, especially when it's in do or die situations like this. And then you have Rail Canyon and Bullet Station, which are entirely framed around rail grinding sections that do not work. You're supposed to be leaping from rail to rail, racing these bullet trains, but rail grinding is broken in this game. You are launched off most of these rails if you even try to switch, which is why the Tails formation is the only safe way to really go about these stages. But it's also the slowest way to ride the rails, so it just becomes very unfun. Then finally, you have Mystic Mansion and Final Fortress, which are entirely framed around combat mechanics that do not work. This Sonic homing attack section is infamous for good reason, but that's the least of this level's problems. Not only does Knuckles slip slide all over the place, but there are multiple robots with huge hitboxes even when they are disarmed. The robot is on the floor. Why does he hurt me from just touching him? This sucks. You have to get to his head to kill him. But just doing that is a war of attrition. Then you have these E2000 robots in Final Fortress, which have these shields they put up whenever you try to attack them. Which is fine, Sonic's ability is to disarm shields, but this does not work. Sonic for some reason just can't do damage while these are stunned. So okay, I'll switch to Knuckles instead and oh, he got hurt from me stunning the enemy. And look at that, the robot's no longer stunned. Isn't this fun? Sonic Heroes for some reason has this terrible hit stun mechanic for your teammates, that whenever they get hurt, they'll be on the ground forever. But you aren't even in control of your teammates, so why have this as a feature? And to make matters worse, your own hit stun is almost just as bad, but your invincibility frames are nearly non-existent, so you can just get trapped in a pattern of getting hurt again and again. This does not work. You sensing a pattern here? Sonic Heroes has an astounding lack of polish, and this is a problem throughout the entire game. It's what I believe to be the biggest reason people overlook this title, and it's a shame. The game isn't horribly glitchy, it just lacks any type of refinement that it desperately needs. Look no further than the special stages to really prove that point. Here you're supposed to collect these colored balls to boost and catch up to the Chaos Emerald, which sounds pretty fun. With good physics, this could be really invigorating, but the physics here do not work. You sort of just jitter all over the place and stick to walls, more often than not causing you to lose speed entirely for pretty much no reason, while at the same time letting you run on the ceiling at full speed? Does this look right to you? Is this a thing I should be doing? Well, it is, because I got the emerald. And speaking of those, they don't even unlock super forms. It's instead used to unlock the final story. Except it's not, because you also have to play through all the other campaigns? What? Why make us collect the Chaos Emeralds if we also have to beat the game 4 times? What's the point? Why not have it so that all you have to do is collect every Chaos Emerald and then you unlock the final story? That way you still have some incentive to play the other teams to try to get the emeralds you missed. But if you're good enough, you could beat the whole game in just one playthrough. For beating all the stories, maybe just give us some type of model swap or something. Instead of restricting character skins and a whole level to your digital deluxe edition, give us a chance to actually earn it in the game. Though you could also actually give us Supersonic and levels, that would be cool too. So you can play as one character and skip all the terrible switching mechanics. Sounds like a good reward to me. Yep, we're really getting into it now. This game's character switching, the entire concept Sonic Heroes is based around, does not work. The way you switch in this game is to come to a complete stop and press the appropriate change button. Only then are you allowed to use the intended ability for that designated moment. I know this doesn't sound that bad, but when in practice, it becomes a total pace breaker. This game is chock full of switching, so you'll be stopping and starting all the damn time. It is never done as part of the action, it always performs as a segue, which makes this whole mechanic feel disjointed. You can't switch in the air, you can't switch mid-character move, you can't switch while fighting, you can only switch in a safe and regulated spot. Why not have the change buttons just perform these character actions, switching you automatically and executing the character ability at the same time? Why not press X on the ground to automatically do a Knuckles punch, or Y in the air to quick fly with Tails? Sonic Forces of all games did this, and it enormously helped the flow. I'm not saying they should completely remove the switch button, just have both options available. There are so many moments in this game where I want to engage with the mechanics, I want to switch out characters on the fly, but the game does not allow it. There is too much stop and start here, and this character switching mechanic is a main culprit. But all of this is nothing compared to Sonic Heroes' worst problem that I believe puts the nail in the coffin: level ups. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles start off every stage at level 0, and need to earn these level up capsules through killing enemies. At level 0, they all do minimal damage, don't have all their moves available, and in general just suck. But that's okay, because the game is designed around this. The start of the stage isn't going to have many hard obstacles, and it lets you level up along with the level design. It's honestly a really smart way to build an immersive difficulty curve, and it makes you engage with the level design if you want to keep up with it later. But because of Sonic Heroes' lack of polish, broken level gimmicks, flawed combat system, and unrefined character switching, you will die. And when you die, you lose every single level up. This is where the game goes from somewhat annoying to straight up aggravating. If you die at any point past the middle checkpoint in a stage, you will have a miserable experience from then on. You are no longer prepared for anything the game throws at you, and as such, every single interaction takes so long. You have no strength to fight tough enemies, you have no speed to get through the dull parts faster, and you are much more likely to experience some other kind of glitch, putting you all the way back to square one again. Even if the death isn't the game's fault, this actively kills the experience for new players, and will only provide them with frustration. This is not simply a skill issue or whatever you want to call it, this fundamentally ruins the game. And this is coming from me, someone who earned all the A ranks because I actually like Sonic Heroes. That's right, despite my countless problems I have with it, I still like it. There's an inherent replay value to Sonic Heroes, and every so often I get this urge to go back and play it from beginning to end, which is much more than I could say about most other Sonic games I have problems with. And this is why it deserves a remaster. There's so much good here that has the possibility to shine with just a little bit of fixing. Sonic Team could improve the character movement, streamline the switching mechanic, enhance the combat, polish up all the game's oddities, and make substantial changes to what doesn't work. But I don't think any of that will happen, because this is Sonic Team. Every remaster they've given us has only made the original game somehow worse. And while many people have high hopes for Shadow Generations, I have many reservations of my own. I'm sorry, but I simply don't trust Sonic Team to provide us with a good remaster here. They've proven to me that they're just not capable. But that doesn't mean Sonic Heroes is doomed, because it can be fixed with one simple change. Have the teams keep their levels after dying. That's it. Because even if this game will kill you in countless stupid, broken, and unfair ways, at least you could still brush it off and continue on. This is all I ask from Sonic Team, because all we truly need is this one simple adjustment. And just like that, you save Sonic Heroes.